By providing broadband, you expand not only individuals' abilities to make decisions about where they work and where they live, but also the businesses that are coming into those communities to grow and invest. I know the challenges are big to try to keep young people here in Maine, and I think this is one of the ways that we can do it. I'm Thorn Dickinson. I'm the host of Clearing the Air. I'm incredibly excited about launching a program that's really about authentic conversations with Mainers about the environment based in their communities that they live. People are having a lot of conversations online now, and I think that doing this episode that way is a great way to show that people can stay connected and advance great ideas on a remote basis. Craig Larrabee is the President and CEO of Jobs for Maine Grads, known as JMG. JMG is a program to bring education opportunities to kids throughout Maine. Josh Broder is the CEO of Tilson, and their main focus is broadband, but really with a mission of getting broadband access, internet access out to those rural communities that currently don't have them. Craig, Josh, hello. Thank you guys both very much for taking time. I know you guys are both busy in your own activities. I appreciate you taking the time.
Craig, nice to meet you. I'm Josh Broder. I live in Portland, and I run a company called Tilson, which is on a mission to build America's information infrastructure. And so we build networks for anybody who needs a large-scale network to connect people over distance. And so we're headquartered here in Maine, but we have offices all around the country. We're super passionate about connecting people, and we have a particular passion for doing that in rural areas. And so we've thought about broadband not just as a utility, but broadband as a way to connect people to the societal fabric.
Mm-hmm. Educating our students should not just be the school's responsibility, it should be the general community's responsibility. And if that's the case, then the community needs to know how to communicate need and desire and put a plan together on how to best support young people that are our future employees, future workforce here in the state of Maine. Our goal is to provide dropout prevention services for these young people, but more importantly, to provide school to career transitional services for all of our 11,000 students. And the kids that I represent and that I get to have the fortunate opportunity to work with, these are kids that don't have a lot of assets and their families don't have those assets. And we need to give everybody equal footing, if you will. And broadband has a way of doing that. Throughout the state of Maine, in every single county, I'm seeing the haves and I'm working with the have-nots, and we're just trying to bring that equal footing to the table.
It's a great point when you think about the well-being of the student is not separate from the well-being of the family. Ultimately, students who have a good home life and who have families that have resources to support them do better than students who don't. And so I think we've also found that when you make broadband available in the home, all of a sudden everybody in the home is able to access it. So, I think that moment of realization happened for me when, the state of Maine did their Laptop for All Students program for the first time. And I think Maine was a leader in the country in that. And you can bet that for many of the families that their student came home with a laptop, that was the first computer that had been in the home ever. But today, the internet is literally the only gateway for many people to work, healthcare, and education during this pandemic time. But you have to believe that after the pandemic time, this will be a permanent feature of the economy. Having just one computer in the house with 4 people is not digital equity, right? Because a middle-class family may have a device in everybody's hands. They may have a phone and a computer each. And so now you have a family who's contending for one computer to do their work and to do their school, and they can't do both at the same time. Like, that's a huge problem we need to address. And in many communities in Maine, where we might have considered them served before this was true, they might have had enough DSL to watch a Netflix movie. They didn't have enough broadband to be able to have 2 adults at work and a kid at school, and all the other things going on that require the internet at the same time. And so, I think that makes sort of overnight a lot of our rural Maine communities underserved. And to speak to your project directly, the 201 corridor in Maine has been one of the furthest behind corridors for internet in the state since I've been involved in broadband. And so if you think it was bad before. It's really bad now. And in most of those communities, DSL is the only option. And there's just no way a student can work and an adult can work on the internet at the same time. I live in Portland, Maine, and I've got a bunch of broadband providers rolling right past my house. And my wife and I and my two kids can't successfully all be working and at school on the internet at the same time. And we have the best broadband you can buy in the state. That's a real problem.
During this pandemic period of time, it's really important that kids have the ability for distance learning. But in talking with Craig and talking with Josh and some of the other conversations of people that actually live in the community, it became very clear to me that whether there's a pandemic or not, by providing broadband, you expand not only individuals' abilities to make decisions about where they work and where they live and the communities they live, but also the businesses that are coming into those communities to grow and invest.
I think the idea that you can work from anywhere puts Maine at an advantage is if you believe Maine is a lovely place to live. And it is. It's clean and it's safe and it's populated with smart, hardworking people that still have a sense of community and connectedness to each other. Many national companies, not just local, have learned that their employees don't have to be in the office. And if that means that jobs are now nationally competitive and you can work for anywhere, it's a tremendous opportunity. So Twitter has said they're never going back to the office. Why shouldn't some percentage of the Twitter employees be enjoying the wonderful lifestyle we have here in Maine? And so, in my view, putting broadband and the devices and the training to use them into people's homes takes care of that kid who may become that remote worker. But while they're still a kid, it could turn their parent into a remote worker, which would provide not only a parent who's present there, in their family life, but also has the resources to do other things.
I think every year we see smart young Maine people really having to make a tough choice because they love the communities that they live in, but the opportunities for them to really get advanced are moving hundreds of miles away, getting away from the communities that they grew up in. And with this kind of access, they really have that choice to say, I'm going to stay here, live in the community that I love, and grow and develop the skills to compete and to make a living for myself.
Well, if the education is going online, and the job is online, what chance does a community have if it's not connected?
Yeah.
Why would you stay? Okay, so the kid stays until they graduate, hopefully they graduate, and then they go somewhere else to seek that education because they couldn't get it from home, and they're not gonna come back because they can't work from home. So they may wind up having to move to some other place just to work remotely. Right? Maybe they wanted to stay in that community, but they can't do it without a connection. You just can't participate without it.
When we think about a productive state, a vision of our state, I think that we're getting to a point of understanding just how important broadband is going to be, especially in rural parts of the state. I feel like I wake up every morning and my job is to represent the underdogs, and I need these young people to have the same opportunity as somebody in Cape Elizabeth or Yarmouth. And it's going to be what's best for the state in the long run. If we can connect our young people and their families in rural Maine, that is a game changer. So it's something we believe in and something we want to help promote.
I appreciated the opportunity to talk about this today. I think drawing a strong linkage between education and broadband is the right link, and I couldn't be more excited about the idea of a program like JMG being able to more easily access the people on the two-arm border.
Josh, it was nice to meet you today, and the synergy that you're talking about with education and broadband and what that means for the future of the state of Maine, I look at it as an opportunity, and I think our future is going to be very bright here in the state.